3, 2, 1. Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Buddy Talks. With me today is William.
It's me.
How's it going, William?
It's good. It's good. Ladies and gentlemen, dry your eyes. I'm here. Breathe it in.
Always welcome to have you here.
The new year is good.
Oh, it definitely is. But before we get started, because you have a very good topic that I have a lot of questions about,
Yeah.
and I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in, we have a little housekeeping to take care of.
Cool.
Go ahead and give us a 5-star rating and a written text review, because that will allow us to get out there and spread the good love of buddy talking and sharing our honest opinion and even having AdamAnalyze.com. So
I was trying to figure out. I was like, how's he going to try and string these together?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. I'm going to get that.
That's where you Adam analyzes his buddy talks for their honest opinion.
.com.
There, .com. Yeah.
.com. All for the sake of digital hugs.
Good old digital hugs.
But also... yeah, I don't have the soundboard on this one. But yeah, before we do that, let's go ahead and get to
Comments?
what is formerly known... Damn it. What is formerly known as Where Your Head At. It is now called the Vibe Check.
Oh, okay.
So we doing the Vibe Check. Will, how you doing?
I'm all right.
That was an upward inflection at the end.
I'm all right.
Was that a question?
Yeah.
Were you asking me? Were you answering a question with a question?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. No, man, I'm okay, man. Work is a lot. Holidays are in the air or coming to a close whenever you're listening to this.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a thing. Overall, I haven't fallen apart yet, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm focused.
That's good.
I'm focused, man.
You have the eye of the tiger. I can see it.
Eye of the tiger.
I wish I could say the same for myself. I just feel stressed like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
Holidays, work is just feeling extremely stressful. Everything, interpersonal relationships with people I know feel very stressful. Holidays, this is probably one of the most stressed I've been in a while during the holidays.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is that I think a lot of people do associate stress with the holidays.
Yeah.
And I don't think we usually do have.
No, I usually don't.
Yeah.
I'm usually cool as a cucumber and just very, very easygoing during holidays. This is the first time that I probably just feel like I'm at the end of my rope and it's very frayed and it's on fire.
Gotcha. I like how that gradually went from oh, maybe it's bad. Oh, no, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. And I just feel like I'm the Rock in Skyscraper and it's just a dumpster fire all around.
All
me.
around. Yeah. There you go. That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hope he's trying to say that everything's falling apart.
It's bad.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
There's nothing good. Exactly.
So I'm just hoping that I can pull through this and survive. Because that's all I need to do is just survive.
Well, with some patience,
Yeah.
I think it'll get you through it all.
It is a virtue.
Yeah.
It is virtue.
The Warriors of Virtue.
I love that movie so much. But I do appreciate some of the people in my life that allow me to stay grounded. You being one of them.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah.
It's not going to change what you got for Christmas.
Yeah. You sure? I'm just making that last attempt.
Gotcha.
That last attempt.
Yeah. It's not going to help him any, guys.
But in any case, you actually spoke to me the other day about this topic.
Yes.
Called me up out of the blue, and I think we both have a couple things to say about that. I'll let you go ahead and kick it off.
All right. Story time. So, I had an interaction where I was with some friends the other day, right? And as everyone's just kind of standing around and talking, I get a text message from an individual, right? There was a word that was misspelled, and as I looked at it, you're gonna throw a bleep in on this one?
I wasn't planning on it.
You might have. So, anyways, so basically, right? I look at my phone and I chuckled and I go, "Ginger." I spell "oops" wrong, and then I kept going or whatever, and then as all of a sudden one of the other individuals goes, yeah, I think you should retire that word. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? And she's all like, the N-word. And I was like, the N-word? Who said the N-word? And she goes, you did. I go, I said it just now?
It's like, what?
And she goes,
That was me?
yeah. And I go, I said ginger. She goes, yeah. I go, just now. She goes, you said it twice now. And I was like, interesting. I don't remember saying that. And she goes, yeah, I don't want you to get shot or beat up. I think you're too white for that. And that's where the interaction, I mean, in that moment, nothing like, like struck me but it lingered with me. And then I spent the next 2 days going over that over and over in my head. You're too white for that. Right? The individual that said it to me is of mixed race.
Yes.
She's Puerto Rican. She's half Arabic. Right? I'm 100% Puerto Rican until I do my 23andMe or whatever the heck that thing is and find out that I'm 89% African. But I've grown up I'm Puerto Rican. I mean, I've got, black family members, white family members, or at least white skinned,
light skins.
Yeah, exactly. The mulattoes of the family. And I've grown up in bad neighborhoods. So I've gone all of my life pretty much where I don't associate that word with hate. And I don't feel a disconnection with it. Like I don't feel like when I'm saying it, like I'm forcing myself to say something that, I don't know, that isn't part of my just standard vocabulary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'm explaining that wrong. But
it's become part of your normal, casual vernacular.
It is.
Yeah.
And so as I was thinking about that, I thought to myself, oh, Marvin, like you're half black, half Filipino, right? And I feel like, I mean, you and I both, I mean, at one point we did actually grow up like literally in one of the same neighborhoods.
Yeah.
I spent, a portion of our lives there.
Didn't even know it.
And yeah, exactly. And I was curious then, right? Because you and I feel like you and I used to work together. We used to, walk circles or whatever.
Yeah.
Like we both dropped that word. And I don't think at any point where one of us like, oh, like,
no.
It was nothing out of the ordinary. And so it just stuck with me that you're too white to say that. And it was all like, what does that mean exactly?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little bit interesting because, I mean, I don't often use the N-word. It's not something that is part of my normal everyday speech.
Yeah.
Every now and then it'll come out, usually satirical. When I'm trying to give special emphasis on a joke.
Yeah.
Or when I'm just like, this person's an idiot. This person's like, bruh.
I think the most famous way that you use it, and we're going to, we'll use ninja in place of it for the rest of the episode, right? Yeah. But, sometimes you go, ninja.
Yeah.
Ninja.
Yeah, I was like, ninja.
Yeah, exactly.
Please. Yeah. Yeah. And that's usually how I kind of go about it. Because for me, I guess for some people, it all depends on where they're from.
Yeah.
Where they grew up, people they're around. You and I, like you said, we grew up around the same area. And it's a product of our environment. We were aware of the word.
Yeah.
People we knew used it. And when they did use it, it didn't come from a place of hate or malice. It wasn't. It was more just normal benign speech. It wasn't like a malignant cancer.
Yeah. So, right. And the fact is that it's just, right, it's part of our, it was part of our normal speech, right?
Yeah.
One of the suggestions that this friend gave was she's like, say like my guy or something, right? And, and thinking about it again for a few days, I'm like, well, that's technically what that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Like that's exactly what it is, right?
Yeah.
And then I feel that And right, here's a moment of honesty, right? Like think about anytime I've ever used the word every time. Yeah, catalog it next time.
Yeah.
But think about any time you've ever actually heard me say the word, right? Does it feel like it's coming from?
It doesn't feel like an attack.
Does it come across? Do I sound like I'm coming from a negative place with it?
No.
And I think that plays a big part in it.
No.
I've met plenty of people, right? White, Hispanic, black, or any other race, right? I mean, Asian, guys. Like, I've met a lot of people that have used the word, right? And it totally is how it's used.
Yeah.
I can tell you that across all those races, it's not coming from a dark place.
No.
And so because of that, it doesn't bother me.
No, that's kind of, no pun intended, from a dark place.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's coming from a dark place.
Yeah. Now, like, I've heard different variations of the word, and its use and connotations.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it for me, it's kind of funny when I hear certain people say it. Like, we'll be listening to a famous rap song.
Yeah.
They'll be going off, rapping. It's like, all right, they're hitting lyric for lyric.
Yeah.
Here we go. Are they actually going to say it or not?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no, they didn't.
Yeah.
They censored themselves.
Yeah.
But then you'll get some people also who's not trying. They're not trying to say it from a terrible place.
Yeah.
And they'll pop off with it, and it's just like, you didn't mean anything bad by it, but it still felt kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have had that situation.
Okay.
There's some people I've been around. It's just like, I know this is not an everyday thing for you.
Yeah.
I know this is not something you normally say, but yet you're around certain individuals who would say something like this and act like that. And now you're kind of throwing it out there with a little more reckless abandon than I feel you should be.
That, and that's exactly what, that's where I've seen that, where it is a little bit reckless, right? They don't fully understand. It's like hearing someone use, right, even a big word, like that they don't quite fully understand how to use that
like
word
ubiquitous.
properly. Yeah, exactly. Like in a sentence.
Yeah.
And so because of that, it's all like, I know what you were trying to say, but it didn't quite come across that way.
No.
And so unfortunately, when it's in regards to the N-word, like, it's like, well, I know what you're trying to say. It didn't come across the right way. And so it is sending the wrong message.
Total wrong message, because that is not something that I know you would ever say amongst your normal peers.
That's exactly it. Right. I obviously I don't use it at work. You know what I mean? Like in front of my coworkers or like, that's not a place for that. Right. When I'm around my family and friends, like, yeah, it comes out. It doesn't like it. And again, there's no thought to it, because again, it doesn't come from a place of hate whatsoever. It quite literally is for me just that. Right. Hey guy, hey buddy, hey friend.
Yeah.
And I found it interesting that when I approached you about this, right, live studio audience asked, right, like, have you ever used the word, and I liked that question, have you ever used the word, right, in a positive way? I think the majority of the time, right, I mean, in the same way, and I know we're allowed to curse here, right, I know that bitch is a bad word, right, like I know it's considered a curse word, right,
or
but
female dog.
Exactly, like I can, like, you can use that all the time and be like, this bitch, you know what I mean? Like this,
I love this bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at this bitch.
That's exactly it. Whereas I'm like, look at this person. Look at this idiot. Or like, look at this. Like, this motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, in a sense of awe. Like, there's no anger behind that.
No.
That's that.
Because you're not trying to attack anyone. You're just using it to kind of punctuate the expression.
Yeah. That's exactly it. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of funny. And like, is a person that you're referencing who said, use like my guy, are they from New York?
No.
Because that's like a New York term.
Is it a New York term?
Yeah.
No. So I mean, again, and these are ethnic people that I'm around.
Yeah.
Right. They're college educated.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if that says anything, but I'm trying to paint a picture. You know what I mean? For those listening, like, these are college educated individuals.
They're upper middle class.
The one that said this, like, she's a lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's an attorney. They don't like to be called lawyers.
I don't care.
Attorneys.
She's a liar. But she's a lawyer. You know what I mean? And so it's all like I understand, right? That I think that there's this idea that with education, right, that at some point, even that phrase, right, like, let's retire that word, and it's all like, well, maybe it's not normal in your circles.
Exactly.
And I understand that. So my intent, of course, is not to make them uncomfortable. So, of course, like, hey, in the same way that some of the individuals that I've worked with in the past or people that I interact with are like, hey, I curse a lot. If it makes you uncomfortable, like, I'll refrain from cursing.
Yeah.
I can do that.
You'd be cognizant of it.
Exactly.
For them.
And that's exactly it. Hey, if this word makes you uncomfortable, like, then tell me it makes you uncomfortable. If you don't want me to use the word just because you're afraid of other people's perception of it or whatever, then that's something that you're battling on your side.
Yeah, that's something that you had to deal with.
Exactly. Like, that's not, I feel like if anyone who saw me around my friends and friends and family talking or whatever, you'd know they're like, oh, well, this guy's obviously not just out here throwing a racial slur, you know what I mean, trying to cut people down.
Yeah.
This guy's talking to his friends, like, these, to people that he cares about. Like, this is just a person talking.
Yeah.
Done. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
A big part of it. So it just, and then to hit me with the line, "You're just too white," for
Yeah.
I was all like,
And that's the thing. It's like, you're not white. You're not the slightest bit Caucasian.
no.
I would see you on the street and I'd say you're Puerto Rican, Middle Eastern at best.
Yeah, I could see that.
But white?
The beard.
No, definitely not.
And I think that I've given off that impression,
Yeah.
right? That I'm white because, and ready for this? This is where it falls apart even more, right? It's because I'm well spoken, because I'm articulate, because I enunciate.
And that's going to bring me to my next thing.
Like that's, I think, the perception there.
So she's saying you're too white for that. Okay. So is that saying that white people should be more articulate? Should be in a different category?
Yeah.
So if you were more, in whatever term she would consider more hood or thug, or in this case black,
Yeah.
it would be all right?
Yeah.
Was it because you're a different person? Are you a lower class, so you're able to say that
Yeah.
to her? Is that what she's trying to convey?
And
Because what exactly is she trying to say by saying that piece?
yeah. And it's like, and that again was what I kept thinking about, like, after it's all like, how does that come across? Does that mean that I am giving off the impression that I am something else that you consider better? Right? You're too white for that, as opposed to, and it's all like, I've worked with plenty of individuals of all kind of ethnic backgrounds, and I've never once bumped into one, right, that has said to me, "You shouldn't use that word."
Yeah.
It's like, And here I am at the age of 36, speaking to someone who, again, painting the picture here, this college educated, right, individual, high stature, at least socially, right, as far as job and, kind of their surroundings and everything like that. Their family, their friends, these are individuals who have money.
Yeah.
And it's like,
How out of touch are you?
yeah.
It's funny you say that, because growing up, as you said, I'm half black, half Filipino. You hear, obviously, the way I speak. I feel that I'm pretty articulate. I feel that I know my thing. I get by. And growing up, it was always difficult for me because I was never, quote unquote, black enough
Yeah.
for one group,
Yeah.
and I wasn't white enough for the other group.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in this limbo where I was not part of either. So I was an outsider.
Interesting.
And I made friends with a lot of other people who were outsiders.
Yeah.
Because, and the thing is, we're very like-minded. We were into nerdy before nerdy was cool. We were into a lot of very similar things, and I still have a lot of bonds with a lot of these people. And I was able to fit into, I was kind of a social butterfly. I was able to fit into all these different groups.
Yeah.
Yet a lot of the groups weren't fully accepting of me to a certain extent
Interesting.
because I wasn't either white or black enough. I remember growing up, I had a crush on a girl, and what I thought was a good friend of mine, she looked me straight in the face. This girl was Caucasian, and she looked me like straight in the face. She's like, "Why don't you go after girls of your own race?" And I'm like,
Wow.
at the time, I'm in like 7th grade, and I didn't really think anything of it. But later on, I was like, "This bitch,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of fucked up."
No, it's very fucked up. Yeah.
But yet at the time, she was trying to, like, she was this particular individual. She was a white girl. She was going after a Puerto Rican guy who I think might have been gay.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what she gets.
But it's kind of like,
Out of her circle.
who are you to say that to me? Like, granted, I thought about this all after the fact, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I never got a chance to confront them. But I was just like,
15 years later.
Yeah.
Come back, bitch. I need to talk to you.
exactly. But it's like,
That's good.
that's some bullshit right there.
It is.
So I think the whole part of your interaction
Yeah.
is a part that says you're too white to say
Yeah.
that is the part that's kind of bothering me the most.
Yeah.
That is like that. Why do you have to say that?
Yeah.
That I feel is unnecessary.
Yeah.
I understand what you're trying to convey,
Yep.
but I don't feel the way it was said was the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know this person.
Yeah, and I don't think by any means.
Yeah, I don't
like,
think it was meant.
Yeah, I you know
From a bad
I
place.
consider her a good friend.
Yeah.
I think she cares about me a lot as well, and I think she I feel like I understand what she was trying to say.
Yeah.
It's the idea that that
The way you carry yourself.
exactly may not be conducive with what like most
You're
of the people that,
outputting.
exactly, and so it's like, okay, I guess.
And mind you, like, I don't know this person, and this person's a good friend of yours, so
Yeah.
they probably feel that they're comfortable enough to say something like that
Yeah.
to you. But me as an outsider, I'm like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
That is not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't have any ill will towards this person, but I would have questioned, and you know me, how I like to be contrarian.
Yeah.
I would have turned around and flipped, and I would have attacked on that point right there.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. It just the whole interaction I found amusing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was still again that early on I was still processing the fact that like
Yeah.
I mean I said it and it didn't like I didn't know I said it.
Yeah.
Right? And again it's not like, and even when I like went over the phrase again over and over, it was all like, no, like I wasn't saying anything mean. You know what I mean? There's no, and then and yes, I do subscribe to the idea that there's a difference, man. The hard R.
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference.
There's some,
there.
the way it's said,
Yeah.
how it's being said,
Yeah.
the environment it's being said in.
Yeah.
Because if you were to, try to pop off with that, even if you're using the A and you're in like a white supremacist rally,
Yeah.
I think that's kind of not what you're trying to convey.
Yeah. My ninja compared to my ninja.
Yeah.
That ninja over there.
Exactly.
It's just, ugh. Oh, no
Yeah.
bueno. Yeah. No. So, I mean, again, I think that even that, right? Like, there's a clear difference there. It's all like, listen to what I said. Listen to how I said it. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing there that I think.
I'm going to start using ginger. I'm sorry. But I was like, it's the same letters. I'm going to start using ginger.
Yeah, you're right. My ginger and ginger, please.
Yes. Yeah. Ginger.
Is that the name of this episode?
I think it should be.
Yeah.
Ginger,
you go.
please.
Ginger, please. That's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I was curious as to how you'd kind of gone through life with it. I find that interesting that that this girl tells you that why don't you date your own kind type of crap. Like, look, and to kind of give a little bit of background right to the listeners. Look, I was born in Puerto Rico, right? I was born
the homeland.
I was in the same city, in the same hospital that my mother was born in, that my grandfather was born in. Like, I'm Puerto Rican, right? I grew up in the Virgin Islands. I've grown up in Massachusetts.
No.
Like, I spent the majority of my life here in Florida, but always surrounded by, I think, all forms of people.
Mm-hmm.
And where that word was used, just normally.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that stood out. It wasn't something that, that like, oh no, that's a bad word that you're not allowed to.
Yeah.
No, that isn't until you hear it used, you know what I mean? Like the wrong way from outside where you're all like, oh, that's a different word.
Yeah.
They might have the same spelling.
Yeah.
But what they're saying and how they're saying it, that's a word of hate.
Yep. Yeah, there was a time when I was a kid, and I, hanging out with some buddies outside, and
Talking.
Yeah, just
Buddies
We were
talking.
Exactly, buddy talks. You're just shooting the shit, and this one kid, he wasn't really a good friend or anything. He was an acquaintance.
Yeah.
He popped off and he hit me with the ginger
Ooh.
in a derogatory manner.
Oh no.
And I broke him down. Whereas I'll never forget this story because my dad was very impressed with me at the time. One of the other neighborhood dads had to pull me off this kid because I was whooping his ass so bad. And once he told my dad, he was like, yeah, he popped off and called him a ginger. And he broke him down. And my dad's just like,
that's my ginger.
and the thing is, my dad and this other guy, they're both black. So there's just like, The kid had it coming. We're not mad at that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure dude probably took some time before he pulled me off the kid.
Yeah.
But
let him get his licks
dude
in.
had him coming. I mean, it was just, come on, bruh.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Try to pop off like that? Nah. Not today, son.
Yeah.
Not today.
Nope. No, I don't. I just, the other one that was thrown around as, as a Spanish guy, Spic was one that was used. And I mean, granted, that one doesn't carry anywhere near as much weight.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Which I find interesting in itself. But, Spic is another one where they're just all like, oh, you're a Spic. And even when I heard it growing up, it was just like.
I think it has to do with the history behind the word.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They were both used as terms
they're trying to
hate,
cut. Yeah.
Exactly, like early on. But ginger?
Yeah. Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
I mean,
watch a couple movies.
Poor LeVar Burton just getting whipped, trying to call him Toby.
Yep. Yeah. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that even as society like continues to change, right? The idea that right, like,
yeah.
I think we should evolve past that word, right? It was what she said. Even that I found interesting because, I mean, it's still very much part of like everyday vocabulary, at least for the social circles that I run in.
It's an urban culture.
Yeah.
Listen to music. You can't get away from it.
No.
And the thing is, like, when it's used a lot in music, it's used in a way where it's not meaning, like you said, it's just normal speech.
It is.
And like the show Boondocks.
Yeah.
I think for some people it's still unsettling, uncomfortable just because of how it was used for so long that when they're hearing it every day, it's kind of like, ooh, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
For me, like, I've kind of grown more accustomed to it, but when it started to be a little more prevalent, especially like on TV and stuff like that, it was kind of like, I kind of stopped my tracks. I was like, wait, is this okay? Is this all right?
The Carmichael show, they actually had an episode, right? And this was on, I think it was on ABC or NBC, like, maybe it was on one of those. It was but it was on a public
basic
access.
cable,
exactly. And so like the full episode, like hard R, like they talked about it. You know what I mean? And it was like, I found it interesting that it did make it past
censorship,
censors, exactly, like to go on air, and it's all like, well, good. Right, like I'm glad that like they can point out the fact that like, hey, and even in that episode, like they spoke about that, like it's when it's used a certain way, it means a certain thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? There's a show on Netflix called Dear White People.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen that. Right,
I've seen part of the first season.
So there's an episode where all these college kids are at this party, right? Yeah. Everyone's having a good time.
Oh,
they're playing the music or whatever,
and
everyone's just kind of yelling the lyrics, and at some point, like one of the black guys like cuts everything off and was all like, "Hey man, don't say that word."
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Hey, I'm just singing the song, like you know what I mean, like that's all it is." And he's all like, "Yeah, well, don't, like, you're not allowed to say that." And I was like, he wasn't coming from a place of hate with it. He was like, I mean, and even I would understand if the song was, you know what I mean, like kill gingers, and they'd be like, he's not exactly singing to give a party vibe.
He's not.
No, it's a Klan chant at that point. But it wasn't that. I was all like, he was quite literally vibing with everyone else that was in there, singing a song that just so happened to be one of the lyrics. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things where like even that bugged me, where it's like, why are we so quick to snap? You know what I mean? Like let's I don't know, let's be a little bit more conscious about what we're doing and saying, and like the individuals around you. Like,
I feel a lot in this day and age, a lot of people are just looking for reasons to get upset. So that's why some things like that happen. Yeah. Because they're just waiting and just itching to jump at, like, let me just get pissed off at something.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think that's.
But you're kind of taken away from where it's really needed and necessary.
And in a way, like, to some extent, right? We've evolved even past that, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, there's no need to get angry or agitated about something that, like, nobody, like, is offended. And I'm not saying, please, for those of you listening, don't think that I'm saying that no one is offended by the N-word. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that there are certain things, right, that as a generations, you know what I mean? Like as we've gotten older, like I think the African American community, right? Like they've taken ownership, you know what I mean, of that word. It means something.
Yeah,
there.
they've kind of took it away and made it lose power.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. So every time that you overreact on it, you're trying to light life to the hate that was behind it.
Yeah.
There's no need for that.
No.
At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there. Like for me, like I said before, it's not part of my everyday vocabulary.
Yeah.
I just use it for comical effect.
Yeah.
Because like Chappelle's show is hilarious, and he does a great job with it. But then again, it's like we have a lot of other words that are
they should have never gave you gingers.
Yeah. And it's like we have such a long ways to go. We've progressed and we've made a lot of great strides, but as people, we got so long to go.
Yeah.
Because even just watching, like, I'm gonna go back to Boy Meets World and just how things are.
Yeah.
That was started in the early 90s, ended in the late 90s. I want to say possibly early 2000s.
Yeah.
And just how things were there. You didn't have a lot of black kids. You didn't have a lot of minorities in general.
Yeah.
But then later on, you had Sean, who was in a relationship with a black girl. You had all these other changes, and you got to see how things were changing. Now, and it's popular to see, homosexual couples. You see, like trans. You see all that stuff, and it's great. We were making great strides.
We are, yeah, I agree.
And I love that fact, and I love how like we're getting away from certain things, but like the F word for gay people.
Yeah.
That is like, or when people use gay in a derogatory manner, I've tried to eliminate that from my vocabulary for a very long time.
Yeah.
Because I saw where they were coming from.
Yeah.
When someone sees something that they feel is foul and they say that's gay, yeah, that's kind of bullshit because it's putting a negative spin on it.
I was about to say, I mean, the actual word "gay" is like actually like positive, right?
Yeah, gay means happy.
It's happy, exactly. Yeah. But it's crazy that you're absolutely right. Like, no one actually uses it in that way. If they do say that's gay, it is to say that is something negative, right?
Yeah.
That there is a negative connotation behind that. So, like, you're right.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say that I'm not guilty of it. Where I think occasionally, right? I have said that, but nowhere near as much as I used to.
Yeah.
Because that was part of my like normal vocabulary. And it was all like, oh, that's gay. Well, I mean, I don't mean gay, like, like gay. I mean, like that's gay. Like that's lame.
And I had to like a friend of mine who said it because every time someone was like, oh, that's gay. I was just like, whoa, I had to check him on it. I was like, you might want to rethink that. Yeah. Because we have a lot of friends, especially we have like two friends right there who are gay.
Yeah.
And that may be misconstrued.
Exactly.
You might want to be a little more cognizant of that.
For sure.
He's just like, what?
Yeah.
He kind of caught him off guard. I'm not sure if he really says it a lot now.
Yeah.
I never really paid attention, but I just noticed that was something that I dialed out of my vocabulary a long time ago.
I still hear people say that. Oh, that was weird. It sounded like an echo.
Yeah.
I've actually I still hear people use that.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't
it's been a while for me.
It. No, like I still hear people. I could tell you at least 3 instances, in the past week alone, where like I've heard someone go like, yeah, exactly, like, oh my god, that's gay, and it's just like interesting, and I find what I find interesting about that is that it's from a younger generation,
really,
which throws me off because I understand that. Not I understand, but I feel like I'm conscious of the fact that older generations say it because it's something that they, associate in a certain way that like it's just old habits.
Some old habits die hard.
Die hard, yeah, exactly.
Like
Some
hate is a taught thing; it's learned.
Yeah, and so but then whenever it's someone that's younger, where I'm like you're 9 years younger than me, you know what I mean? Like, why are you saying? That's gay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not part of your culture. Like, I've watched your generation grow up, and it's like, that's not something that
you've quote unquote evolved beyond this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Because like early on, I switched using that term and saying, "Oh man, that's lame."
Yeah.
Or
That's exactly.
and I know that
That's
some
stupid.
that's
I like to say stupid a lot. You know what I don't use at
What?
all anymore either?
What?
That's retarded.
yeah, that's when I dialed out. Also,
Yeah.
yeah,
I took that out of my vocabulary.
Yeah.
I still hear people say that.
I don't really hear that a lot.
I do.
Wow. And it's like, and usually if I hear people say something, I'll question. I was like, so why did you use that word?
So, and here's where I'm just adding more and more
Yeah.
layers onto this, right? I work in a ghetto area.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that I use are considered lower class.
Yeah.
They use all those words.
Yeah.
That's gay. The F word for gay, retarded a lot. Like, I hear all of that and I'm just like, huh, interesting.
That is very interesting. Yeah.
Like, you're still using that in 2019
Yeah.
and flippantly. Like,
yeah. Like reckless abandon. There's
Yeah.
no.
and it's negative for sure.
Oh, yeah,
because
definitely.
like you're not going all like, yo man, Superman punched the hell out of Doomsday. Yo, he hit him with a retarded punch. Like, no, that's not
No.
that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not a thing you use.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's one I feel like I haven't heard in a while.
Brother, it's the circles that I fly
But
through.
it's interesting because Live Studio Audience, she's put me on game with a lot of things because I'm out of touch with today's youth. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I just learned how to do the woe the other day. I just learned how to do that.
Yeah.
And just some common speech. Like one of the ones that I learned was someone who has a wow. Why is it the term
Tourette?
No. It's like someone who has Asperger's or they're on the spectrum.
Oh, I
Why
was
is
actually going to bring that up, where they say that they are not with.
autism, versus saying that someone
Autistic.
has autistic versus someone who has autism.
Yeah.
And ever since she explained to me, it's like when they say they're autistic, that's placing a label on them, and that doesn't define them. And
I'm glad you brought that up because
Yeah.
that's one that actually like. So you guys actually pointed out to me like a few months ago.
Yeah.
I actually because of my sister, like
Yeah.
she's got a few friends
Uh-huh.
who have autistic children, and
or children with autism.
and that's the thing, they actually say autistic children.
Yeah.
And so I was like conscious of like, wait a minute, is that something that again that is that like the younger generation, or you know what I mean, where they're trying to say that no, don't hold, or is it allowed? Are you allowed to say like no, like your child's autistic, and that's not
That
to
was-
suggest that it's something
yeah,
negative.
yeah.
And so that's why I still use, because I think that at least for sentence
Yeah.
purposes, like
Yeah.
I think that sounds right? That hey, that child's autistic.
Yeah.
I don't mean that to
Yeah.
limit whatever. And
Yeah.
so after kind of meeting a few people with
Yeah.
autistic children or children with autism, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I'm comfortable saying the phrase autistic children. And
Yeah.
I even read up a little bit online because I guess it's one of those things that's still being kind of
It's
like
kind of it's
argued,
something
I
that's
guess,
starting to change
still
recently.
in flux. Exactly.
Yes.
Like some people are saying no, some people are saying yes, whatever. But I find it interesting that that's a thing.
That's the thing, yeah. I think for me, the reason why I started switching it was because, like, I think I've mentioned on here before that I have MS.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to be the sole thing that defines me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I am a person with MS. I'm not, that person's, he's multiple sclerosis. Multiple sclerosic.
Yeah. See, but that's the thing. I don't think that's the way that's
Yeah.
said.
But it's not. But I kind of viewed it sort of like that. Like, okay, that person's autistic. No, that person's a human being
Gotcha.
who has autism.
Gotcha.
And I think that's kind of how my brain wired it.
Gotcha.
So it's like, okay, I can see where this person is kind of coming from, because like, no, they're a human being. They just happen to have autism.
Yeah.
They're not, they're autistic. Well, they're a human being. They have autism versus, someone who's like disabled, who has anything else like that.
Yeah.
I'm disabled.
But they're not disabled. They're with a disability.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you start getting into all sorts of things like that.
And that's
Yeah.
where I stand on the, for that argument.
And I get it.
Where it's all like, I mean, we're not saying that that's the limitation,
Yeah.
right? We're describing whatever it is that they
Exactly.
have.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm saying they're autistic. It's because they have autism. I'm not saying that they're autistic. They're of lesser value to society.
Exactly.
Or that's not
Yeah.
what I'm saying whatsoever. So
Yeah, I think one of the things they're trying to change just the stigma that's there.
yeah.
Because someone's like, oh, they're autistic. It's like, ooh, and a lot of people just don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of issues are. They don't know what it means to have autism
Yeah.
or to be autistic.
So how where are we at on time?
Oh, we saw plenty. We're at 40 minutes.
Okay. All right. So let me let's continue to dive down,
Oh,
right?
another tangent.
And make
Let's
a
do it.
shift here, right?
Yeah.
I am clinically depressed with depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
Right?
You're
you know this.
Depressionistic.
Exactly. I'm depressed. And anxiety.
Yeah.
No, but
Ooh, that sounds cool. Anxiety.
Yeah,
That's like a punk band.
yeah, and live to the stage, anxiety. Yeah, baby. So with that, right, I've actually taken a mental health first aid course. I'm certified, right,
Oh, yeah.
to actually help right through those types of things.
Gotcha.
One of the things that we went through, through this course, right, was that the words like, oh, that person's crazy,
Yeah.
or like the fact that society in general is a little bit afraid in a way, right, to address people's mental health. Well,
Oh, yeah.
if somebody's in the hospital, right, because they broke a leg, you
Yeah.
bring get well balloons, right, and
Yeah.
that's okay, right. But if someone's in the hospital for having a mental breakdown, you don't come in with balloons saying get well because
Yeah.
you're afraid that you might agitate whatever caused that.
Yeah.
Right. We get that. Like, I understand where those individuals are coming from, right? That's, I mean, I think socially, just people don't. They're like, ooh, well, whatchamacallit was in the hospital, and
Yeah.
they went a little crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like and
Brittany
so
did. She
yeah,
shaved her head.
she shaved her head. Yeah. So, like, being aware of that, knowing right what it is that I have, and understanding right that there's so much more that is still being learned from or whatever, I understand why we wouldn't want to use a word like crazy.
Yeah.
I still use it on occasion.
Yeah.
I don't mean it to be so negative. I don't mean it as to make someone feel lesser.
Yeah.
But I understand that, right?
Yeah.
I try not to use crazy as much because, again, I don't know what those people are going through, and
Yeah.
I'm not something extra special. I don't suffer from like schizophrenia or anything
No,
like that.
no.
Like, I feel like those are mental like health issues that are a bit more extreme, right? Like
Yeah.
that require a bit more care. Look, man, depression and anxiety, those two usually come together.
Yeah.
And I've met countless people that have said that, like, oh, I was told I suffer from depression or whatever, and it's all like, okay, I mean, you may or you may not, whatever the case is, but I'm not trying to take that from you.
Yeah.
And so because of that, like, it's like, all right, well then maybe I should be a little bit more careful when I say crazy. Like,
Yeah.
whenever, you know what I mean? Because these are same things, again, like
Yeah.
with labeling, right? That I don't think I come across as somebody who seems constantly depressed.
No.
I don't think I come across as someone who suffers from anxiety.
No.
I think I do a fairly good job of keeping myself together, even in situations where everything's falling apart, right? But on
Yeah.
the inside, I'm freaking out.
Yeah. And that's the thing with, like, would you consider being depressed like that? Would you consider that like a disease?
That's the thing, right? And I think this is the very 80s me
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
I want to say no,
Yeah.
but it is.
It is.
Like, it impedes.
Yeah.
It impedes a lot of things
Yeah.
sometimes.
And that's the thing, because growing, like I said, I have MS. It's an invisible sickness.
Yeah.
Looking at me, you wouldn't tell that there's anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I suffer migraines. I suffer like my memory issues. I have like the fog. I couldn't remember the word during this episode.
Yeah.
Autism,
Yeah.
and that's usually when
Because you're autistic.
But it's instances like that where I'll have a flare up. I'll have these things. I look fine on the outside, and a lot of people think, "Oh, that person's faking."
Yeah.
And there's a lot of invisible diseases that people have, and they just don't understand. And I feel that like depression is definitely one of them.
There's a guy that we used to podcast with.
Yeah.
His wife has MS.
Yeah.
And that was one of those things where he had a hard time, like,
Dealing.
calibrating. Exactly. Because
It's not easy.
he, just like you said, like, it's an invisible thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, no one can usually see when you're suffering. You know what I mean? For those who like suffer depression at a more extreme state, like, some people are good at hiding that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, your tolerance, your way of of kind of holding that stuff together, especially for having it for as long as you have,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And working through it. Like, I hate to touch on a sore spot here, right? But we both have lost parents.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things where it doesn't hurt any less.
No.
It doesn't hurt any less, no matter how far back that is. You've just gotten better at containing it.
Yeah. And that's the part that's difficult because Anna gets mad at me a lot.
Yeah.
Because I try to continue on as if I don't have the issue.
Yeah.
And I end up suffering because of it.
Yeah.
There have been many times because there's some days where I'm gassed. I have nothing. There's no energy in the tank.
You said gassed. I'm hearing like farting noises.
Exactly.
Like you're just ripping it.
Exactly.
Ripping ass
I'm
next
just
to her,
full of gas.
and that's why she's messing.
She's just so mad. I'm just crop dusting the entire play. Yeah. And but I have no energy.
Yeah.
I can't do I don't want to do anything. I just can't. But you look at me and it's just like, what's wrong? Just get up and go do it. It's like, you don't understand.
Yeah.
I physically cannot,
Yeah.
especially in the summer because heat is a big issue with it.
It is.
And I live in Florida.
Yep.
It's awful.
11 months out of the year.
Yes.
Fucked.
Yes.
So here's the thing, right? Where, in the same way, right, that like you have flare-ups,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes my depression or whatever, it's manageable, right? It comes and goes in moments, and then other times, like you guys might not be able to tell, but I have been in weeks worth of slump.
Yeah.
Countless hours at night, sometimes awake, just overthinking, and my self-worth is at the lowest it can be.
Yep.
And I've gotten into arguments with my ex-wife because she's all like you're self-aware. Like I'm very self-aware, right? But the way that Lay had actually explained, or I explained it to her once, and I feel like she kind of like understood.
Yeah.
It's like some people tell you, right, that like you're so strong, right, that you can push through it, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine you taking that strength and pushing it onto yourself.
Yeah.
If I'm so strong, imagine me holding myself down.
Yeah. Oh, and it's the worst.
And that's exactly it.
That's exactly what it is.
I know what's going on. Like I'm aware of it, right? My mind is open enough to see that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I lack the strength to push it back.
Yeah. There have been times like I'm going to get kind of dark here.
Yeah.
There have been times where it's just like it'll be easier to check out.
Yeah.
But and then I think of how that'll affect everyone else. And then that part of me kicks in is like I can't let these people down.
Yeah.
I just can't.
I've been there.
There's too many things riding on this.
You're absolutely right.
And it's just like, well, time to suffer in silence even more.
I hate that makes it sound like it's like this like pity party, like but no, but that's exactly it. Like that's exactly it, right? Kids, family, like friends. I think to myself that if I'm not here, right? If I removed myself, if I was no longer in the picture, right? How would these people view everything? How would these people deal with everything? And at what point, what damage have I caused now? Is it selfish on my part?
Yeah.
And then I beat myself up a little bit more.
Exactly.
It feeds that depression.
There's going to be survivor's guilt on their behalf. There's going to be a lot of things on their behalf. Because like as you said, we've both lost parents. And like my dad, he did everything in his power. He was suffering.
Yeah.
But I wanted him around. Everyone else wanted him around. So he did what he could. Yeah. Even though he was so tired.
Yeah.
But when I kind of reframed it as like, you know what? He's not suffering anymore. He's good.
Yeah.
He's better now.
Yeah.
He tried to do what he could to stay around for us.
Yeah.
Almost didn't make it like 3 times on the table, but he managed to pull through just for us. So it's like, so many people are suffering, and they're suffering for others.
Yeah.
You can't hold some of this against them.
Exactly. It's very complicated. I know that there's a lot that still needs to be kind of processed and unpacked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A mind really is a very complex thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've seen it. You know what I mean? You've seen people who hallucinate. You know, no drugs needed. Who hear voices. You know what I mean? Like it's just there's a lot that you can inflict upon yourself, and so it can be hard. I can understand that it can be hard to kind of open up your mind and go, okay, this isn't for attention, right? This is something that unfortunately is beyond even their control.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as, oh, well, you know what's wrong with you, so why don't you... I've got an anvil sitting on my chest, right, in the shape of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to keep me down. He's not trying to help me stand back up.
Nope. It's
So
telling
sorry.
me everything. It knows all my greatest fears.
Knows all of
It knows all of my weaknesses.
Yep.
It's like Superman 3 when he
Yeah.
had to fight himself.
Yeah, better.
But it's like,
Yeah.
and I think that's once I got my diagnosis, that's why I was able, everything changed in my life and my understanding and how I kind of saw things.
Yeah.
And I had a lot more respect for people who were going through
Yeah.
a lot of that.
I did. It took a while for me to own up to the fact that, like, hey, this is something that is when I was diagnosed with it and
Yeah.
then told about my medication,
Yeah.
brother, I broke down, crying.
Yeah.
The idea that this is part of my makeup now from
Yep.
here till the end of, like, this is me. Like,
This is part of my life now.
Yeah.
This is me.
it fucked with me,
Yeah.
you know? And then it does. It opens up your mind a little bit more into, like, well, I didn't realize that I was that close-minded towards others about this kind of stuff. And so now I can be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. It like, I used to be very, very, very high strung
Yeah.
about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I think I have my sense of humor and everything now because of this.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget driving home, thinking about how am I going to tell my family
Yeah.
that I have this incurable disease.
Yeah.
One thing, having a doctor tell you have an incurable disease
Yeah.
is hard enough.
Yeah.
But then disseminating that information to your family, because I think the part that kind of shook me out of it was telling my mom, because I could see it in her face. She's like, something's wrong with my baby.
Yeah.
I can't do anything to fix it.
Nope.
Once I saw that, I kind of switched gears. I was like, okay, I can't be down about this. I got to try to figure something out because I got to do this for her.
Yeah.
She's got enough on her plate as is.
Yeah.
So doing that has kind of made me be a little more lighthearted about a lot of things in life. And I could just only imagine what a lot of other people go through.
Yeah.
Like some people, comedians,
Yeah.
I think that's one reason why we're as funny as we are. Because comedians are in some of the darkest places. Look at Robin Williams.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he is someone that you would never expect, but he's been gone now for what, like 5 years?
Yeah. And not, granted, I'm not saying this person is near as great as Robin Williams, but
Yeah.
Pete Davidson,
Yeah.
Younger generation,
Yeah.
someone who has quite a few mental illnesses
Yeah.
or whatever. And I think he's a funny dude.
Yeah.
I think he's fucking funny.
Dave Chappelle.
Chappelle.
He was at the height of his career.
Yeah.
And he's like, he walked away from all of it because
Yeah.
it was too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
It is. It's an interesting, just journey.
Yeah.
I guess to kind of tag on. There was something else I was gonna say. I can't remember what the fuck it was. Oh man, maybe I'll remember in the next second or so. Here,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Do you remember what in regards to?
No.
Oh, well then.
If it was important,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it after the episode.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
That's true.
I don't know. I'm 36 years old, right? And I do remember what I was going
Oh,
to say.
go for it. All right.
It's I think when I was younger, right? Whenever I would see people with I think more prevalent or more visible, like mental or even physical, like health issues or disabilities, there was a sense of pity
Yeah.
when I was younger.
Yeah.
And now it's admiration.
Yeah.
There's this sense of whenever I do see someone who is like, mentally challenged and you see them moving around, going on their day to day. I mean, even whether, if they're by themselves or with family, whatever the case is, it's an admiration that they have the strength to continue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doing what they do. Like I've been at the point of tears sometimes because I wonder if I have the strength, right? That should my condition ever get any worse, if I would have that strength,
Yeah.
it's, that has been a very big life-changing thing for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. That that is definitely something that kind of weighs down on me too. Because when Anna and I started dating,
Yeah.
I think it was the second or third date, I told her flat out, it's like, this is something I have.
Yeah.
Is this a problem?
Yeah.
Because if it is, let's just stop seeing each other
Get
now.
to
Let's not
step
waste each other's time.
Yeah.
Because there is a real possibility within 5-10 years, even shorter, who knows, maybe never, I may need a cane.
Yeah.
I may need a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I don't know what the future will hold. But
First off, if you have a cane, pimp walk, man.
oh yeah,
Jealous of it as it is. Hey man, kill it.
Exactly.
motherfucker. Kill it, Ginger.
yeah. But that is these are all real possibilities. I wake up every day just thinking, like, this. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty fortunate because a lot of people, how I handle myself, they don't know, they can't tell.
Yeah.
But I have to be very open with something, because if I'm not feeling well, I need to let them know so they don't think it's like, what's wrong with him? Why is he acting drunk?
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
no, my balance just sucks.
Yeah.
I remember like early on, especially waking up in my apartment by myself, going to walk, and I just fell.
Oof.
Lost my balance. I was like, well, that was weird.
Timber.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was the thing. But yeah, I just got to get up. I was like, well, here's another day. I got to push through again. Let's do it.
Trying to make sure that our other wasn't on their way yet.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, we're still good. Yeah, we're still good.
Yeah. I don't know. It's been interesting, kind of going through all of it. I remember that when I told my dad that like I had depression and everything, he did this very old school, and I love, like, I know that it's coming from a good place from him, but this is to show you that old school 60s mentality.
Yeah.
Where he tells me, Bobby, it's like, you don't need to take medicine. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that you can do, that you can beat.
Yeah.
And it's all like, that's not the way it works, unfortunately.
No.
Like, I want to believe that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I want to be able to say that I'm strong enough to be all like, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
But it's like,
No.
unfortunately, it's not the case. And it was part of my own, battle to even accept that.
Yeah.
That it took a while for me, because I was diagnosed with it at one point, and I didn't actually take any action on it for
Really?
months later, because there was this idea of, they're like, no, I can beat this.
Yeah.
No, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to go through any of these more.
You think it's just all mental.
Yeah. And it is all mental.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the problem.
Yeah.
So it was like, no. And then finally, at some point, when I pulled the trigger on it, it was
Bad choice of words.
yeah. Whoops. But when I decided to take action, it was a very emotional journey, and it wasn't just like shouting it from the rooftops, I'm anxiety.
Yeah.
Like, no. It was, let me have that conversation with my dad.
Yeah.
Let me have that conversation and let my kids know,
Yeah.
my baby mama. Like, it was the idea that, like, hey, this is something that I'm going through. And I think even my ex-wife is
Yeah.
one of those things where she was just like, well, you can beat this. Like, and it's like, yeah.
That's the interesting part. A lot of people, it's amazing, because I'm sure, in just saying that, how much advice you've received unwillingly from hearing about that. Because one thing I always hear, so-and-so, I was like, oh yeah, I have MS. Well, I know so-and-so who has MS, and they did this. I was like, that's great.
Yeah.
But that's them.
That's them. Exactly.
Annette Funicello also had MS, and she's dead.
Yeah.
So it's different for everybody.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he was depressed?
He had a lot on his shoulders, man, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he was carrying a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But we are actually at an hour now.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you, brother.
Yeah, you too, bro. I think it started off, we definitely went a totally different direction with it, but hey, that's all right.
Yeah.
I think it was a good conversation.
I agree.
So yeah, go ahead and email me your thoughts or comment your thoughts about, ginger.
That's right.
How do you feel about that word?
Yeah.
Or if you just want to talk to us about any other issues you got going on, you can comment or send me an email at buddytalkspod@gmail.com. Will, where can they find you?
You can always find me over at innerhonestopinion.com. I want to go ahead and throw this out there. Hold on a second. Just because we kind of touched on it, is the mental health like phone number.
Yeah.
If any of you guys, if you don't have a loved one that you can talk to, then, by all means, reach out. It's not easy. You're not the only one. And I don't mean that in a way to take away from your struggle whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's more to say that there's a lot of us out here, man, and we're more than willing to help you in any ways that we can. So that phone number is 1-844-395-1271, if I remember correctly. That's a crisis hotline.
Yeah.
And again, I'm always over at innerhonestopinion.com or on Twitter at Krypton'sWill.
Yep. And you can find me at buddytalkspodcast.com. I'm on Twitter at TheArtfulGent. Again, thank you again, Will.
Thank you for having me.
And we hope you have a fantastic evening, everyone.
Take it easy, guys.
Bye.
See you.